Ignition liftoff. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
So today's episode is a little bit different. I want to introduce you to something that we are calling the Launch Box. Now, in these episodes, we'll be sitting down with experts across many industries to unpack the strategies, insights, and game-changing ideas that power the world of business. From the bold risks to breakthrough moments, we're diving deep into what it really takes to build, scale, and sustain success. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur, business leader, or just someone with big ambitions, Launchbox is the place to learn. And I'm excited because to kick it off today, we are joined by the incredible Dior. Now, Dior is the founder of Pepper Your Talk and is actually my life coach. She knows firsthand what it takes to build a brand with purpose and is here today to share her insights on having the right mindset. So please welcome to the podcast, Dior Bediako. Just a quick one before we start. If you like listening to this episode, which I know you're going to, please like it and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share it to your group chat.
Let's go.
I think this is a really funny place to start because we work together. Mm-hmm. You are my life coach.
I am.
But I've never really broken down with you what a life coach actually is.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I don't actually like defining it.
Yeah.
It's difficult to define and it's so easy to do.
Ooh,
but
okay.
I will explain it.
Please.
So a life coach essentially is like a supportive partner in your life, not in a romantic sense, of course, but a supportive partner who helps you navigate what season you're in. So you can come to a coach and say, I want to achieve X goal. And then the coach is going to help you strategically plan, help you with your mindset, overcome obstacles, and then keep you accountable on the journey. Mm-hmm. And it's very different to therapy, which is how a lot of people like to compare it.
Yes.
It's not the same. Therapy helps you go back and clean things up, whereas coaching is all about accelerating towards a desired future. So that is the clear difference.
So is there a world that you think, because we met because we were at a talk together, and I was like, everything she says is like she's breaking down everything that I'm saying, but in a really articulate way, making me understand what I'm actually talking about. It was so weird, in the best way. Mm-hmm. But I've never been, and I'm all for therapy, I'm all for self-work, but I've never been that person that wants to do the delving into the past, because I'm quite rational enough to know that I probably feel like X, or I'm probably quite guarded with this because my dad probably, where he wasn't there and he was telling me he would show up. And so I kind of know why I act in certain ways. Mm-hmm. And like going into that has never really appealed to me. Like I'm okay with it, I'm at peace with it, and I'm not like angry. I'm just forward. Mm-hmm. And because I'm a forward thinker, I think that's why this suits me so much. But is there a world where like therapy and having a life coach could coexist?
Absolutely. And I love that you have touched on this because I'm exactly the same.
Right.
Very rational, very black and white. It doesn't take me long to like come to a solution in certain situations because I'm able to face the facts and deal with it based on that. I've been to therapy and the therapist is like, you are very self-aware, which made me feel like I didn't need therapy, which is not true. Right. What you need is a different type of therapy, which is somatic therapy. And it helps you actually tap into the emotions that typically when you are very practical, you suppress and you don't really like to feel. So you rush out of the emotion and try to be happy all the time or try to
problem solve.
Exactly. Uh-huh. But you're not
That's
sitting.
Me.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. Me too. That's
okay,
what we
got. Feel better.
So I would say for a person like that, you need more somatic therapy. But there is a world in which therapy and coaching go together. And most of my clients, if not all, have a therapist and work with me.
Okay,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that when we were taping the series, and the initial plan was that we would tape 8 episodes, have a little break.
Yeah.
And then do a roundup in some sort of way. So look back at the guests, what they've said, things that have sort of stood out. But we love it, so we decided we're always on. And when I first said to you, would you come on? I was like, okay, we're going to break this down and we're going to have a break and then we're going to come with your episode and then we'll go back into the next, launch the next series. However, I feel like I want the conversation to keep going, but I do still want to break down moments. There have been so many poignant parts of different guests and what they've said, I quite like to pick little bits apart. And I think the beauty of the series is that we've delved into what it takes to launch. So that's kind of like from a budgeting background or from a staffing point of view and raising money to creativity to what makes good product. But actually, to get something off the ground, the first thing that most of our guests have said is the mindset and the resilience and the passion and what that takes from you mentally. So let's talk about getting something off the ground, but from a place of mindset.
It's a place you're always going to go back to. There's no such thing as I figured this out, I'm never going to deal with that emotion again. Or I've overcome this limiting belief, I'm never going to have another one again. Mindset is like, would I call it a playground? It is a space where you always are going to delve into. And which is why I say, like, I'm a coach who works with entrepreneurs, but I don't really care about your business. And when I say that, people don't...
With love.
Respectfully, I don't care about your business because I care about you as the founder. Okay. And I know that the business only thrives in the way you want it to, because it can be thriving, but not how you want it to, when you are in your best energy, when you are in your best mindset, or when you're not in your best energy and mindset, but you understand that this will pass and that you're navigating it well and you're not doing like destructive things to overcome the situation or acting irrationally. You're actually saying, okay, I feel really scared, but that's okay. And I'm still going to keep going with fear coming alongside me, or overwhelm or anxiety. Like, it's okay. It can come with me on the journey. Yeah. So that mindset piece is so key. And I think a lot of people don't realize that everything they're experiencing, everything is only a problem with their mind. There's no such thing as real problems in the world. And a lot of people will push back on that and be like, but what about this? But what about that? I will always challenge it and say 2 people are going to feel differently about a specific situation. There's no one situation where every single person in the world feels the same about, which means that it's our mind that's creating the reality of the situation, not the situation itself.
We have done a lot of work on this.
We have.
I'm nodding because I'm like, I know. Dior teach me how to separate fact from feeling, which, I mean, we'll get into, but that's been something that I've worked on a lot, right? But I do feel like I'm in a much better place when it comes to that, really deciding, well, I think this is going to happen. No, again, that's a feeling. That might not. What are the facts?
And that's not even a feeling. That's a thought. The thought is like the biggest piece of it all. The biggest piece. And then under your thoughts are your feelings. So the only way we come to feel something is based on what our brain has told us about the situation. So we're filming here today and you might be really hot, I might be really cold. And my brain is saying, oh my God, it's so cold. And your brain is saying, oh my God, it's really hot. And you feel cozy and that emotion is coming from, it's really warm. And then I can feel, let's say, nervous because it's coming from the thought about the cold. And it's only, we're in the room together, we're feeling different things based on what we're thinking about the situation. Yeah.
Which is why mindset is so important. Like, we could talk about this all day. Let's touch on a specific guest that really has, I think Shizza was really insightful. I mean, she's just an incredible human. But I think what was really interesting about her was navigating the no's. She touched on how many people said no. And we're talking like 100 plus people said no when she was trying to raise money. She was trying to raise that capital to launch the business. She got so many no's, but it just takes one yes. And I remember asking her, that's great now. And everything seems great, doesn't it, through the lens of success. And now our place is like the first D2C business to reach 9 figures in 17 months. And when you're saying something through the lens of success, it's easier to be like, and then it was all great. But at the time, how do you navigate that?
So if anybody is navigating a situation presently where they feel like they're experiencing more no's than yeses, in fact, there's no yeses, and where their feet presently are in life right now is not an enjoyable place, zoom out and go to the future. And how you go to that future is by asking the 4 killer questions. So what will happen if I achieve this goal? What won't happen if I achieve this goal? What will happen if I don't achieve this goal? And what will happen if I don't achieve? And it sounds like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. Essentially, what it is, it's identifying why you want the goal. So what will happen if I achieve it?
Yes.
Go back or forward, in fact, into the future of why this thing is important, why it matters. And that takes you out of the present moment. It keeps you on track to navigating towards your big goal. versus feeling stuck in what's happening right now in relation to that goal.
Yeah, and I think the positive in that is when you're in the trenches and it feels terrible, everything, and you say this to me a lot, that everything's actually temporary. Mm-hmm. Everything's temporary, the good and the bad. And the good news is the bad is temporary too, right? So it's knowing that, okay, and keeping so far ahead that you get out of where you are quicker. And maybe in real time it isn't, but it feels that way because you're not concentrating on the here and now.
Absolutely. Because again, it's the mind. Mm-hmm. So it's not about not being here, because you have to be here. There's no way to live today without being in today. Yeah. But you need your mind to be focused on something bigger and better that helps you understand why this is happening. And it helps you actually navigate this a bit more gracefully, because it's like, this isn't going to happen forever. And actually, what will happen if I achieve my goal? And I think that what won't happen if I achieve my goal is also key as well. Because it's like, okay, I won't be scared anymore. I would have navigated the toughest time of my life, have overcome that, had my goal, and I won't be this person today because I'll be a bigger version of me. What won't happen is I won't be stuck in my same story. And it will be like, oh, actually, this situation is key because it's teaching me that I will break free from this, and this situation is here to serve me. Yeah.
It's almost like, well, what happens if I don't achieve it? Well, I also won't live in regret, because I know that, it's so interesting. I think a lot of times we're in it, or there's something that we want, but we don't actually take that time to consider the pros and the cons of everything, right? And I think sometimes you realise that there might be a few doubts, but the pros would always outweigh the not moving.
And then you've got to choose. So be aware of the pros and cons, do the 4 killer questions, and then say, which reality do I really want to focus on? Do I want to keep focusing on the big future, or do I want to focus on everything that can go wrong? It's 100% a choice all the time. I always say to my clients, your brain, they're like, I don't know how to imagine my future. I don't know how to imagine a positive future. I'm like, tell me the worst case scenario. You're well practiced in it, because the worst case scenario is also an imagination. Like, that's also something you've just created in your brain. So you actually have practice in it, but just use it for your good towards your goals.
Yes.
So I would say this part of the conversation we're having right now is really geared towards people who are yet to launch, or in the process of launching, where it's really challenging and they're questioning, like, is this worth it? Why am I doing this? This is so hard.
Do I take the risk?
Exactly. And the person I want to reference here is Emma. I loved the conversation you had with Emma. And she said something like, on paper, you wouldn't believe in me. But if you just meet me in the room, then you will.
You're in.
You're in. Yeah, that's what she said. She said, if you meet me, you're in. And that specifically spoke to me in this like launch phase, like getting off the ground phase, because at that point you have no evidence. You don't have a CV full of I've done this and I've done that, especially if you're just launching the business. There's no sales to reference. There's no customer to reference.
Zero data. Yeah.
No success to reference. And that is where bulletproof self-belief comes into it. And you really have to say, it's not about a result. I am the result. I've done things in my life, even if it's unrelated to business, that make me the type of person who can go on to create this success. And when I say bulletproof, I mean it. Things are only bulletproof if there is a threat against it. Right? We're not going to like bulletproof our houses because we don't think anyone's going to shoot our houses. But we bulletproof things that you feel like there's a threat against it. And when you're going into business and you feel like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything, I haven't done much, you have to build bulletproof belief, because your brain is telling you that everything's an attack. That person saying no to you is an attack. This thing happening is an attack, right?
Yes.
So it has to be bulletproof in the sense that you're aware that my brain is going to tell me that everything that happens is an attack. It's like a confirmation bias. Everything's against me. I don't have success. I'm a nobody. I'm this, I'm that. But I have the bulletproof belief to defend myself against that. So the attacks are not real, by the way, right? They're perceived attacks because that's how our brain wants to kind of program us to feel like that's what's happening.
And also, I think it's so hard to not take things personal.
Very hard.
When you're the founder, it's your baby, it's your business. It's so hard not to feel that. It's like someone talking about your child, or like the child that you haven't yet had. Like it is, it feels that deep rooted.
Absolutely. I hear people tell others that you shouldn't even call your business your baby because it makes it too personal. It almost makes it too, like, it's too gut-wrenching when it doesn't go right because it's like, oh, my baby. And you should create some separation, actually.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, the entity, the thing.
Oh, I wish.
It's
oh,
easier said than done.
It genuinely is like my baby. And I think, and you know this, I'm like, how, because we say this self-belief. What if self-belief is something that doesn't come natural to you? And that's one thing that we did touch on with Emma, because she has it in abundance. She knew she was made for something. She always had the feeling that, like, she even says, like, she was practicing being a baller before she was a baller. Like,
I love it.
Like, that is something that she holds so closely because she's always felt like that. And I love it. She's like, I've never had imposter syndrome. There's not an arrogance around it. It's just fact. She's never has had that. She's always had that belief, which, I mean, is that why she's such a success? Because she's always believed in herself?
I think it plays a huge part. Like, backing yourself plays a huge part. And there'll be someone listening who says, but I don't have that. So what does that mean for me? And I will say, do not panic and do not worry.
Right.
Start with what you have. So what are you telling yourself about yourself? And then let's restructure that sentence to make it the most positive, yummy, delicious thing you could possibly say about yourself. And we're not going to force it. So what I do with that is I say this sentence where it's say it again, but say it nicely. Say it again, but say it until you reach the sentence. That's the one that is like, I believe in that. So if it's like, oh, I'm not somebody who can make £1 million, for example. It's like, okay, but say that again, but say it nicely.
And how do we say it nicely?
I believe I can. So I'll try and do that. But I would say it's possible. It's possible that one day I might have £1 million. And then it's like, okay, say it again, but say it nicely. £1 million could be sat in my bank account one day. Okay, say it again, but say it nicely. One day I will look at my bank account and I will see, and then you keep going until you hit the sentence that, like, strikes you and you're like, that's my sentence. That is my new belief building sentence. And I'm going to say all this affirmations, basically.
Yes. And I'm going to speak that to myself.
Exactly. That's all thoughts are. Thoughts, affirmations are just thoughts that you intentionally say to yourself. And that sometimes contradicts the reality, but you're choosing to believe because you want that to be your reality.
Yes. So you're almost manipulating.
But then I feel like
it's like that faking it till you make it. And I know that makes it sound, that's almost got a negative connotation to it. But actually there's truth in that, isn't it? It's like, if I tell myself this, okay, on paper it's not my situation right now, but if I keep practicing this and I keep almost fooling myself, it will pay off.
I don't even see it as fooling yourself because I see it as there's a world in which you have it. You just haven't reached it yet.
Right.
So we have one life and there's a time in my life where I will have this thing. So that means that it's there already. It's in my lifetime.
I'm just not there.
So So now I need to walk on the journey to just get there. So it's not faking it. It's all real. Yeah.
So we can all have that because there are so many people that are like, that is amazing. And we all know, we've all got groups of friends. We all know people that are like, just like naturally confident. They can naturally walk into a room and feel comfortable. They can naturally walk in a room and take charge of the room. But then we've all got friends in that group that are like, oh no, you're ahead of me, or that don't have that naturally. So you're saying that we can
absolutely obtain it
if we tune into that.
100%. I would say start today, in fact. On the journey to launching, there's many, many, many things you need to do. When you're building a business, the to-do list never ends. But the one thing that must always be on your to-do list every single day is checking in with yourself and your beliefs. Like, what do I believe about myself? Because whether you like it or not, that belief is going to create a result in your life. Everything we have is a result of what our brain has told us we can have. And there's days when you're like, oh, I feel crap and this and that. It ends up being a bad day because that's what you've told yourself you are, right?
It's so true. I knew I was going to have a bad day today. This went wrong and this went wrong.
And it just starts with one thought and then you start looking for more confirmation of it. And then you create more and more negative results in your life. So it's like building belief should be on your agenda, on your to-do list every single day, or at least checking. What do I believe about myself? What do I believe about my business? What do I believe about my impact? What do I believe about my ability to innovate? Whatever it is, check, score it, in fact. Is it a 10 today? And you're going to see that that day is different. And if it's a 2, then it's like figuring out what you need to do to still have a good day out of 2. So is it more gratitude practices? Is it calling a friend who you know like gasses you up? Is it listening to your podcast? Is it doing something that kind of gets you a bit higher? Because operating on a low level of belief just makes the journey that much more challenging.
Yeah, you've always got to fill your own glass up, haven't you? Always. I think that.
Always.
At all points, at all stages, before getting off the ground, and then when it's time to launch.
Yeah.
Even more so.
That reminds me, instantly what's come in my head with that is Sabrina's episode. Because Sabrina spoke about when she did launch and everybody was saying, oh, it's a celebrity brand, which to somebody else sounds positive, but the experience of that could be quite negative because people doubt that you've actually truly understood your product, truly understood your consumer, and that there's a real need for it versus just wanting to have a new brand, right?
Somebody's name on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what struck me there was you should never try and disprove that this is just a celebrity brand. You should never.
So interesting.
Yeah, don't try and go after the people who don't believe because you're focusing on the wrong category. So don't do anything to help people understand you better. If anything, keep connecting with the people who do understand, and that will gather the people on the periphery who were like, okay, I think this thing is working. Let me come in and have a look, right?
I've changed my mind.
Yeah. So when you've launched, people are going to have all kinds of opinions on you, whether it's a celebrity brand or not. There's going to be so many opinions. How does that person know about business? What do they know about this product? Why are they getting all this traction? I
don't feel it's anything special.
Exactly. That category is saturated, whatever it may be. So many opinions, and you just have to let people be wrong about you and be so okay with it. Do not enter into a second of trying to prove yourself, ever.
I couldn't agree with you more, by the way. It's so hard though, particularly if we're thinking like, we'll talk mainstream, and of course, but that's not the way it looks for everybody. But there might be a family member that doesn't believe in you, or your friends think, oh, she's doing this thing, and it gets poo-pooed. Or it's very hard because sometimes the people that you want to be on board actually aren't the people that are. Are the people that you expect that they would be in your corner. Sometimes aren't interested. There's this like meme that I see every now and again that it's like, support your friend's business like you support Beyonce's. Yeah. Like it's like somebody that you actually don't know. And I think, weirdly, as people, we are programmed to worry what other people think. How do we... There's always going to be a little focus. It's probably going to be a bit of a push and pull and a fight that you have to have. But how do we start caring less?
Literally, always goes back to the goal. Always goes back to the vision. Always goes back to the future self. How does focusing on that person, that opinion, that thing help you move forward? If anything, it keeps you stuck.
Yes. Preach.
So it's like by choosing to say, I am going to make sure that everybody who said I couldn't do this comes back and apologizes to me, you're just kind of stuck in a circle, in a spiral, because guess what? More people are going to say you couldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
So you're now going to be on a train of just finding all the people and disproving them, or are you going to focus on, do you know what? I'm just going to win so hard, so big, so strong, so loudly that if it reaches them and they're able to see I've done well, good. If it doesn't, good. People are talking about us all the time, 24/7. Like all the time. People will say my worst fear is like my family member not supporting me, or something, someone gossiping about me. And I'm like, well, your worst fear is happening right now. You just can't hear it.
So true.
Yeah, it's happening right now. You can't hear it. That's why it's not affecting you. So you have to get really good at blocking out what is noise, label it as noise, and just file it away somewhere.
Yeah.
And what is, for me, the sad reality is when you go after and you focus on the people who don't support you and people who you want to disprove something to, you take attention away from the people who really want to like sit around you, support you, help you, because you don't have enough time to do both.
Yes.
So if you take the time away from this one and give it to the negative one, well, you've robbed somebody who actually really wanted to be there for you.
And yourself. Because of you're feeding bad energy. I think, actually, Emma Greed touched on something that I think was interesting, because I think it happens in two ways. You're either really worried about what people think, or you're very self-assured, which I think is one way or another, right? But actually, I think what's interesting is she said, not everyone's thinking about you.
Oh my God, they're not. There's an actual experiment where they got somebody to wear a crazy t-shirt and walk into a room. And then they asked everybody afterwards, did you notice the person in the crazy t-shirt? And everybody was like, no, I didn't see it. And it was like it's an actual experiment. So they picked the wackiest t-shirt, the wackiest outfit. And most people were like, no, I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know why? Because everybody's thinking about themselves.
Everyone's too busy doing their own thing. And also it makes you a little bit like sort of self-entitled, like they're going to be watching me. They're going to be worried about what I'm doing. And actually, guess what? They're worried about them.
Absolutely.
They're busy. Don't worry about thinking everyone's
even when they
listening
talk
to you.
about you, even when they talk about you, even when they...
It's throwaway,
It's
right?
not even that it's throwaway. It's from the lens of themselves. Whenever somebody sits opposite me, I have to be so conscious of not doing this with a client. A client will say something, immediately as human beings, our nature is to personalize things. So if you say, Dior, I'm really worried about X, I'm thinking, oh, am I worried about that? Has that happened to me? That's just human nature. So when you think someone's gossiping about you or saying negative things about you, it's not even about you. It's actually about them. The reason why they're talking about it is because in some way it relates to them. So it's your name they're saying, but they're really just thinking about themselves and playing it out in their own head in a way where it's just focused on them. You don't even know. So you get so upset, worked up about these people. Nothing to do with you.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, so you have to remove that layer of worry and know that I think if you actually saw it as a trade-off and you actually saw it as an exchange of, okay, if I spent this time worrying or being concerned or paying attention or energy to worrying what people thought about me, that if there was an actual way of like there being a marker on it to say, okay, this is like a worry bank and this is I'm scared of people judging me bank versus how much that would drain the bank of your actual business. Like if you could actually quantify it like that.
I feel like you could stop yourself every second, every time you feel it, every time you think it, you can. I do that sometimes when I'm working and I feel myself procrastinating. I just put like a little tally on my notepad. And at the end of the day, I check how many times I got distracted. So you can actually physically do it with like...
something tangible.
I worried, I worried about somebody, I had a thought about somebody speaking about me, or I worried about something that's not my concern. Just write it down. At the end of the day, be like, is this how I want my life to look?
Yeah, this wasn't how it was supposed to run. Exactly that. And that there took time off the real thing.
Exactly.
I think that's what's to remember.
And everybody wants more time. We have all the time we need. Just using it. Worried about the wrong things.
Yes. And also using it to have fun. I think
Love fun.
that we lose the ability in the stress and the kind of day-to-day or the fear and everything else to remember to have fun. And I think sometimes when the idea is born and you think, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I want to run with, it's so exciting, it's so fun, it's so appealing. But sometimes over time, we can suck the fun out of things because it becomes day-to-day admin, logistics.
Yeah.
We're putting out fires.
Natasha spoke about that in her episode. That stopped me in my tracks actually, because she said the swimwear industry is just so much fun. And I thought, I wonder how many people can say that about their industry.
Yeah.
Because swimwear, for me, I'm not in it. I don't know how fun it is or not, but I believe her. And I believe her because that's what she's telling me. And she believes it because that's what she's told herself about the industry. So I feel like a lot of people get so bogged down in the drama of business and this is happening and that's happening and it's so scary and I'm anxious and I'm overwhelmed. Choose what emotion you want to feel and run with it. Like Natasha, just say, statistics is fun. Numbers are fun. Literally, like there's no prescribed emotion for any situation in life. We spoke about this one time. And I was like, even death does not have a prescribed emotion. A death can have two separate impacts on people. Somebody, I'm sorry to say it, can be really happy that someone's passed away and somebody can be really sad that and it's the same person, which means there's no prescribed emotion for it. So there's no prescribed emotion for anything in life and especially your business. So if you feel like, oh my God, this business is overwhelming and you're feeling so many negative emotions, pick a positive emotion you want to feel, pick a thought that generates that and run with it.
Yeah. And I'm going to find the fun in this. And it's almost like owning that.
Yeah. I think even finding the fun, again, it makes it like the job of the industry to create fun versus I am going to create I'm just going to see this as fun. I'm just going to see this as fun. It's like if I need to do all my spreadsheets, right? I'm just going to see this as fun. It's not like, okay, I just hope that as I'm doing this,
there's going to be a fun moment.
No.
Right, okay.
It's like as I'm doing it, I'm just proud of myself. I'm vibing. I put on my music. I get
Find your own way to make it fun.
Literally. Just tell yourself ahead of time, this is going to be fun and then make it fun.
Yeah. You're so right, because you actually forget that there's a lot you can't control. Of course, there are going to be things that happen, but you can always control
how you think about it.
See, I'm learning.
You are.
I'm learning.
I was like, is she gonna land?
Is she gonna land? It's true, because, and you say this to me a lot, of course, you know, I've spoke to you openly about situations that have happened and have been stressful, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this going to happen? Are we going to survive this? Is this going to be a huge thing? But all of that stuff you can't actually control, but you can control your outlook and your mindset and how you think about it, which then I believe has a lot to do with the end result regardless, because you've put it in the universe.
And what you said about like, are we going to survive this? How is this going to work? That's all your imagination. Like, none of that has happened.
Yeah.
So are we is a question, and it's questioning a possibility. And actually, you can just create a new possibility. We are going to survive this, and it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to us. And it instantly changes the situation.
And like you say, it's kind of, if people are listening, they're like, that's easy to say, but what if you're in a make or break situation with the business, which we launched 3 weeks before the pandemic. And I was like, wow, there were furlough conversations happening, and we weren't like 6 weeks into the brand launching. We were on a shop floor and the shop closed. Oh God. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is years of labour of putting this into our baby, and now we don't really know the future. However, I think that your mindset can change things, and for us it ended up being a real positive that actually we weren't initially we were going to go straight to D2C, and we wasn't going to partner with a retailer straight away. We couldn't find the right one. We had a meeting with Boots. They understood it. They got the whole thing. And then I count my lucky stars every day that we partnered with Boots, because remember when everything was shut over COVID and over lockdown, nothing was open, but guess what were open? Supermarkets and pharmacies. So then we ended up having to do this reorder, because we developed this cult customer that we didn't have anything else to do other than like browse.
Exactly.
So the shopper that maybe was in there buying for their kids and they were grabbing were actually really looking at it and really invested. And then there became this kind of organic growth. But I actually weirdly think for us, if COVID and lockdown hadn't have happened, I wonder, would it have had the same impact, and would it have landed as much at that time?
Exactly. So everything is happening for you.
Yeah.
We've circled back so many times back to mindset, and really want to labor on this point. I mean, it's what we're doing the whole episode, but your mindset is everything. If you had chosen to say, do you know what? I launched at the wrong time. This is a mess. Gonna shut it down. I'll relaunch it when the world is back. Cool, you could have done that, but you didn't. And you weathered the storm, and actually you found out that this pandemic, as awful as it was, is the best thing to have happened to my business right now, because it's created an opportunity that I couldn't have even planned for. Yes. It's created a platform that I couldn't have even dreamt of. And it's made the growth, the acceleration, maybe so much faster than it would have if I had stuck to my original plan. So, mindset.
There'll always be those moments that you just have to let your mindset challenge the reality.
Yeah. The reality is what your mind tells you. There actually isn't like the one reality. We're all experiencing different realities all the time. So something being a bad situation is, again, there's no such thing as good or bad moments. There's only good or bad thoughts. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's constant self-work. I just think I've got it, and then she's like, no. Yeah. Everyone's reality and it's so true. It's so true. But you just have to keep reminding yourself and keep topping up on that. Yes, you're right. We're all having a different experience in this room right now.
Literally.
Getting there, girl. I'm getting there. I want to talk about failing, because I don't like to look at it as failing. You know this. I like to look at it as lessons. Yeah. And, we're at moments that we realise that we won't do that because this is for us, not that. Yeah. And we wouldn't have known it if we hadn't have tried. And that's always my outlook. Failing out loud has become, I think, such a big thing. And I don't know if social media has kind of really propelled that. But I think now when we launch something, whatever that might be a relationship, that might be like going public with a relationship, it might be a business, whatever that is. If said thing doesn't work out, the embarrassment kicks in, and I think, or the fear of embarrassment. So we're scared to put that on a big stage in case it doesn't work out, rather than if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But I think now there are so many more layers to people knowing and like a noise around it that everybody's worried to do that loudly.
Failing is the other side of success. And I know that's said so much. And I think it's said so much to the point where it goes over people's heads. So how I like to explain that is like it's a relationship. And if you want to open up yourself to love, you have to open up yourself to heartbreak. It's the same thing as success and failure. If you're saying, I want to go into this relationship and just be completely open and experience the best love story of my life, it means that you've now created space for the option of it being the biggest heartbreak of your life too. That is success and failure. So failing isn't this thing that happens in isolation on its own and it's because you did something wrong.
You don't just wake up and fail.
Exactly. It actually means you took a chance to really do something right in your life. And the fact that it's failed does not even mean anything has gone wrong. It just means that it was an option. And this is the option that presented itself. That is it. That is it. I always say to my clients, like, yes, no, and maybe are all answers. So if you're putting yourself out there and you're getting no's, it means you're in the game. If you're in the game and you feel like you're failing, again as well, actually, let's touch on this. Is failure a feeling or is it a thing? Do you feel like a failure or did something actually fail? And you have to separate that and say, did it really all go wrong? Typically, no, never. Something went wrong, a piece of it. So did it fail? No. This launch or this small piece of this big pie just didn't go right. And then if you're feeling...
It didn't go the way that we expected.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, the way you planned.
Yeah.
And if it's a feeling of failure, then it's like, okay, well, we know that every feeling comes from a thought. So what thought am I thinking that's creating failure for me? And do I just want to sit with it for a while and just let failure be in the room and I have it? Or do I want to change it because actually it's not helping me move forward, right? But back to the initial point, to fail means you have tried. It means you've put yourself in the game. It means you have taken the opportunity to increase your life, to expand your possibilities, to actually taste and touch more. There is no such thing as failing in that world. In the world where you say, I am me as I am right now, and I want to develop that, and I want to grow that, and I want to become bigger, and then it doesn't go right, you're still bigger. And I call it GVA. A lot of people call it strategic byproducts. I call it GVA, which is the goal value add.
Right.
So by way of achieving this goal, even if you don't hit the goal, what did you get along the journey? What are the value adds along the journey? And like, I'll give you an example for me. For a month, I said, I'm just going to post on TikTok. Just going to post on TikTok. That's scary for a lot of people. A lot of people like...
That's scary for me.
30 days on TikTok. Every single day with the opinions, the comments, the this, the that. The worst of all for me was my own opinion of myself. Hearing my voice, looking at my face. And there was no magic thing that happened after. Actually, I went viral. But so that was the magic thing.
Viral, y'all.
Like over 1 million views.
That's my girl.
Right? But the magic, the true magic, right? If that viral moment hadn't have happened, because it's just a moment, what I learned was to fully embrace my face. I did not know that that is what would happen on the journey. I had no idea. But by getting in front of that camera every day, I was like, yeah, you got flaws, you got this, you got that. It's fine. Don't really care. Right? So that's the value add that you get along the way. So
yes,
maybe my goal was I want to hit 10K followers or something, and I didn't hit that. Would I say I failed? No, because now I have fully accepted something that comes with me everywhere I go. Those are the value adds that you need to think about.
And the viral video.
And the viral video.
Don't forget that, creep. It's so interesting because there are always lessons. And I really, really believe that. And like you say, sometimes it is just opening yourself up to going, okay, well, now I know that I've tried this and I've put myself, I've entered the chat. I'm in. I've put myself in that room, which is half the battle. I also, while we're touching on like failure and doing that loudly, a big part of that I think is attached to it is the emotion. And I want to touch on this because Connor said something that was interesting, and she's like a sunshine, isn't she? She just beams. Like, I can't imagine her being emotional. She's just like,
it's so good she's in LA because that is the energy.
It is. She just radiates that easy breezy life. But she really, she said, I try not to get emotional. I don't become emotional. I see anything that happened, anything that went wrong, and if you're listening, I'm doing quotation marks, as data.
Yes.
And seeing it as data, which is really interesting.
I could have clapped my hands at that point. I'm telling you, I could have just stood up and said, because that's all it is. She sized it up, she summarized it, she perfected it. That is all it is. Anything that happens in life is just data, especially if you're goal driven.
Yes.
Especially if, like, let's say you put out a collection, it doesn't sell as many units. Instead of saying my launch failed, it flopped, nobody bought from me, or whatever you want to say, you can say, distill it down to the facts. We do this a lot. What are the facts? And a lot of people struggle with figuring out the facts in a situation. Okay.
I'm your girl.
Rochelle struggles. No, not just you.
To the point where I think I've got it, don't I? I'm like, okay, Dior, I've got it. The fact is, when someone said something, no, Rochelle.
That's not a fact.
Again, you go again, that's not a fact.
Yeah.
That's the feeling, that's the way you took it. What is the fact? The fact is, I'm currently in England.
Exactly.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yes.
And you're not unique in that. Like, you are not the only person who does that. Even me. Sometimes when I'm trying to coach my own self and I'm trying to get the facts of the situation, the data, as Connor said, it is so hard because I am emotionally charged.
Yes.
And it is difficult to take the emotion out. But what you can do is just get out a piece of paper and say, what factually happened here? What actually happened? Someone described it to me like this once upon a time. They said, if a guy promises to call you at like 8 p.m. and he doesn't call, what's happened? And in your head, you're going to be like, he's so rude, doesn't consider me, probably talking to another, all of these things, right? And the person that was like speaking back to me said, no, all that happened is the phone didn't ring. That's the fact.
That is the fact.
That is the fact that I experienced.
And everything else that you dress on top of everything
is a thought, is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally a choice because I have no idea what has happened on the other end of that. And all these assumptions create these thoughts, the assumptions are the thoughts, and they create negative emotions that then create negative results in my life. We don't want to do that.
And it's the easiest way to stay, and I hate like the term stay unbothered, but sometimes we just want to be unbothered. We want to be at peace and we don't want to be like these thoughts kind of like taking over our day. And if you literally think of it as the phone didn't ring, that's it. You've moved on to the next thing.
How are you angry at the fact that the phone didn't ring?
Yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
Just the phone and
I've
it's
done
just
you a
the
favour. You were
sound.
busy.
Exactly.
It's so interesting. And like you say, we always try and work back, don't we? And I've improved, but there's still those moments where I'm like, oh, hang on, no, that is
there
the
will
thought,
always
and that's
be the
feeling.
moments.
That isn't actually the fact. And we always try and put it back.
Yeah.
My team even do it now.
I love
we're
that.
in the office and they're like, Rochelle, let me just remind you, that's the feeling, it's not fact. I've been very open about my coaching sessions.
What keeps us human is the fact that we will always go back and think emotionally, be emotionally charged. That's what a human being actually is, right? We are emotional people.
We have hearts.
Emotions are beautiful. They signal us to so many things happening in life. Sometimes you're like, why do I feel sad? And then it reminds you, oh, wait, it's because of... So emotions are really important. And I don't want anybody to feel like they need to start suppressing their emotions.
But in business, it can hold you back. It can.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. But there is still room for the emotion. If you just, like we always say, just let it come in the room. Sit it next to you on a chair and just say, I just need you to be quiet, as if you brought one of your children to work, right? Because emotions are like children. They're quite unruly. They just want to, they're like intrusive. They just want to jump up at certain points. And you can just
all up in your business.
That's right. And you can just say, look, I get why you're here. Just sit on this chair next to me. I'm in control. You can be here. If you need me, if you need my attention, just let me know gently and I'll give you all the attention you need. Because I don't want people to kind of unnecessarily rush through emotions without really processing it and understanding that the emotion isn't harmful.
And do you know what you've taught me so much? Because I am that person, as we know, you'll laugh, that I have to like, my husband also just got a little bit left. Like I really have to, everything has to pass through me and not in a rage. I'm not the person, I'm quite like rational with it, but I want to talk it out. I'll be on the phone to the team, my friend, you know, whatever this is in life. And I'll have like a week. That is like topical to me. Yeah. And then once I've got it, I'm quite like kick it off. And then I'm done. Then it won't come back again. But there'll be a good week of where I'm like, this is all that I'm going to feel. But I'll never forget you saying to me, it's like, you need to treat this like, acknowledge it. So if you're like, oh, I've got a bit of a knot in my tummy about this, know that it's there and acknowledge it. Rather than if that feeling, I never forget you said to me, if that feeling was a person and they run in your house and they went in every room and they were like screaming in one room, screaming in the, you wouldn't go and try and reason with it in every room. So sometimes doing the over talking and over processing till you're done. When I think I've always perceived that as quite a good quality because I'm letting it out, I'm not being angry, I'm being considered. But actually that can be just as toxic.
Absolutely. What that does is it creates suffering on top of the feeling. So you compound the feeling. So it's like if the feeling is fear, by you reacting so much to it, you maybe create more fear.
Yes.
So you're scared of feeling more scared, or you're scared. It's just like, it's unnecessary. Or you just start suffering. The feeling is there and then you're talking about it to everyone and
and then all of a sudden I've dreamt up a hypothetical situation that's not even happened in the future and I'm annoyed.
Our body is ours. Like, we control this body that we're in and our emotions are in our body. So that's like the analogy that we spoke about a feeling coming into your body is like a stranger coming into your house and running around and going into every room. And actually, I'm in control of my body. So I'm not going to follow you to every room. I'm not going to let you lead me. I'm going to sit in the front room and when you're ready, come and meet me there.
Yeah. I'm not going to go and try and reason with you in every room.
No, I'm in control. You can be in my house right now because I let you in. Right? Because feelings only come into our body through our thoughts.
Yes.
So I let you in. I have to take responsibility for that. But I'm also not going to let you now control my whole day.
Yes.
So if you want to be in the bedroom and go to the kitchen and do that, no, just let it be there.
Yes.
Just let it be there, but don't let it control you.
Yes.
It's in your body. It came to be there through you. You had an option and a lot of people don't realize this and they want to fight back and be like, do you know, I just feel sad. And I'm like, nope, no one just feels anything. There is a thought behind that. And you can stick with it. As a coach, my job is not to tell anybody what to do because that takes the power away from the client. And the whole point of coaching is for you to be able to really access your power, to make decisions, to tap into your desires, to create your dream life on your own. I'm not doing that for you. I'm with you 1 hour a week. So
it's the best hour of my week, babe. I'm going to be honest.
I enjoy it too.
I go into the office. I've got my, literally, right, just so you can set the scene. I've got my dressing gown on. I'm cozy.
Matcha.
We started off so formal, didn't I? I'd be like dressed for his meeting. Hi, Dior. No, I'm in my pajamas.
And
I've
you'd
got my
apologise.
matcha.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry.
Yeah, I think I've stopped doing that now.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like cash. And it genuinely is. And even the team are like, they know that they're going to get a good me that day because we've gone through everything. I've set my goal for the next week. I think it's so important to constantly goal set too. And we should touch on that because at the start, I think when you're trying to get something off the ground, you set goals based on, I don't know, this is how many followers I want, or this is how many, it's a little bit transactional, it's very practical, but actually you don't often set goals on how you're going to feel.
Yeah.
So, okay, when you get those 5,000 followers, what are you going to do? How are you going to feel? How's that going to sit? And what does that then mean?
Yeah.
And that is the easiest thing. It's so much easier said than done because we're always on to the next thing. And it's something, again, that we work on that actually to sort of every milestone is important, however small. And how are you going to... We launched in the UAE and the first thing he said to me is...
How are you going to celebrate?
How are you going to celebrate? And I was like, it's a really good question. I've not thought about it. I've got so much work to do. But I made sure that I went for dinner. And actually that night we didn't go for dinner, but my husband and I had a takeaway because we were tired.
But you were aware.
We acknowledged it and we spoke about how the trip was going to be. And, you know, I was on 75 hard, so I didn't have a drink. I was on the challenge.
Fine.
But my husband did, and he toasted for me. And it was just acknowledging that and talking through it and going, this is amazing. And this is, you know, it's the goal setting thing. I think we'd see it as, well, it's more of a kind of, you do a brand strategy, don't you? And you do a kind of a future plan and a brand plan and a business plan, but actually like how you want to feel in those moments.
Should I tell you the trick, the real trick?
Yes.
Many people don't know this. You don't get the feeling at the end.
Correct.
You have to generate the feeling on the journey. So if a lot of people say, I just want to be happy.
I just want to get to.
Yeah.
I just want to get.
When I get here, I'm going to feel happy. No, you won't. You're going to feel happy a little bit every day. And that's what's going to make the end result feel like an unbelievable amount of happiness because you've built it up over time. So anytime you want something, how you get it is by generating it on the journey. So it's great to be goal oriented and then also process oriented too. I think that is the game changer. Have your goals. Goals for me are just a time in the future where I have what I want. That's just what I say a goal is.
Right.
And that kind of distills it down and makes it really easy because people get in their head about goals. Like, I don't know which goal to pick. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's
all the goal
all
is.
it is. Yeah. It's just a big tick in your future where you have that thing you want. But then you have to fall in love with the process. And in order to do that, whatever you think you get when you have the goal is the life you have to live every day towards that goal.
I love that.
Yeah, your future self isn't built at the end. It's built every day towards your future. You become a bit less of who you are today, a bit more of who you want to be in the future. And that's how you become.
And I love that because I am such a process girl. Like, I'm in it. Of course, like, there are things that we'd want to achieve, but and you stumble and you learn them along the way too, because you can have goals, but they will then breed new goals, and the journey and the process will then breed new opportunity. And new, like, I didn't know when I started the business that at one point I would have a podcast just talking to other women in business, because that was never the goal. But then you stumble across new ones. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, and I think what I would say about you, Rochelle, is that you genuinely are process oriented. Like, through the good, the bad, like we said, there's no real good, there's no real bad, but what you would categorize as really good for you, bad, you just take it in your stride. You keep going, you keep moving. And it's not like, oh, but I really wanted this and that's not happening. It's like, actually, every day is special to you. Every day there's like a new slice of happiness. There's a new positive thing for you to extract. That is so key. So I just want to celebrate you for this moment and say, like, I enjoy working with you specifically because your mind is able to just be in it.
Yeah.
Day to day.
I love it. And I think that is, you find something you love, you never have to work a day, right? But
it's work. It's work.
No, but but it will always be work, but it comes back to the love. And I think that's what I think has been a consistent theme through every founder or every woman that we spoke to, is actually you have to have that almost like, Natasha said this, that like obsession with what you do, and that love and that passion and that excitement. And actually every one of our guests has said the same thing, because on the days that you're like, woof, this is a ride that I didn't see coming, or we've been met with this problem, and actually this is a day where if we were going to, we'd say, okay, we've had enough now. But that fire will never go out because it's always there. And if you don't have that, you've not really got anything. Yeah. So that's always the best place to work from.
Even when it's like a little flicker.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's there. Exactly that. Even when you're like, okay, everyone's really tried to put this out today. They've had the hose, they've had the jet wash, but I'm still here. Let's touch on relaunch and relaunching, because I think a lot of our guests have had that actually. Connor Walker had that a lot, you know, from going from Celebrity Boutique to House of CB, and that being a big part. I've had that a lot, pivoting from careers altogether. Right. The relaunch, and it can look so many different ways. I think Megan's outlook was really, really interesting, because she took a lot of personal time off from the good quote and from her business because she was grieving. Yeah. And, you know, she had a lot of loss, and she was kind of, as she said herself, self-medicating and turning into other ways. But she then, when it was time to come back, she had like 3 years, right, of a bit of escapism, which, as she said, she was in a position that she could do so. Yeah. But feeling 3 years behind when you want to come back and you want to be the new you again, that's quite a hard thing. And I'm even talking to my niece at the minute who isn't sure she's going to have a gap year, or she's not sure how to do it, but then not wanting to take that gap year because she'll be a year behind her friends when she takes the year. That feeling of not being sure if you're going to be left behind, or if you feel not where you should be. That's quite a hard kind of place to be in, isn't it?
It's a hard place to be in because we make it hard. So I remember in that episode, actually, Megan said, I feel, I am 3 years behind. She said something along those lines. And her episode was beautiful.
Oh, she's amazing.
Beautiful. I loved it. I loved hearing her. I would have never known her story, actually, if it wasn't for you bringing her on the podcast. I really enjoyed listening to it. And that struck me when she said, like, I'm 3 years behind. And she didn't really mean it in a negative way. She's excited to move forward. Yeah. But a lot of people would say that in a negative way. Right. And they would use it to kind of bring themselves down. And this thought of I am behind is a way of comparing yourself to a version of yourself that you believe should have existed, which means you're not accepting of everything that currently is. And a lot of what we've spoken about today is like, life is a gift. What's happening is happening for you, not against you. There's no such thing as a bad situation, just bad thoughts. So if you practice everything we've spoken about, you're going to realize that where I am today is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And there's no such thing as a different life 3 years forward or backwards. I just have today.
Yes.
I just have today. So if I do feel like I'm behind or I'm this or I'm that, it's because I'm comparing myself in a way that's not actually helpful. Who has ever said I feel behind and it's motivated them? They think it's motivating them though. Yeah, I'm so behind and this is the fuel I'm going to use to keep me. No, negative creates negative. So if you tell yourself something negative about yourself, I am behind, it means you're going to produce results, right? But from a very negative space, and you won't realize it, but your body will. And there'll be this kind of internal struggle. You'll never feel satisfied with where you are. You can hit your biggest goal and still say, but it should have happened 3 years ago. This is great, but it would have been better if I'd done this a while ago. Or if it, do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, you should just try your best to examine your thoughts. And it slips out of our mouths all the time. Like, oh, I'm behind. Behind what or who exactly?
Yeah.
And who set that expectation? You. So can you change that expectation? Yes, because you are in control. And you want to change it to something that actually makes you feel really good about where you are. Because to be where you are means you've overcome things, you've survived, you've gotten up, despite the times when you just didn't want to, you didn't want to go to work, you didn't want to run the business, you didn't want to talk to a single team member, but you did. So it's kind of discrediting all the work you've done to get you here.
Yes.
And actually I speak a lot about the future self, but there is no future. We make it up. Your future is just a place in time that you hope things will be, not even better, I don't say better, but it's a place in the future where you've achieved everything you want to achieve. And your past is just memories. The past can't come back again.
Yeah.
It's just a time in your brain, a way you re-experience your life in your brain. That's all the past is. So your future is your imagination and your past is like your memory. So that means that all you actually have is the present. The future hasn't happened yet and the past is gone. It's just in your brain. So if you are here right now and you tell yourself that here where I am right now is not where I'm supposed to be, that actually isn't even true because there's no other time than right now.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, embrace this in its totality, the good and the bad. Embrace all of it, bring it all in close and say, do you know what? I'm happy with all of this, which is hard. It's very challenging to say, I'm happy with a minus X bank balance. I'm happy with...
To be grieving. I'm happy, those real life moments that
because this is my life.
Hard. Yeah.
I'm happy with it. I'm accepting of it because this is my life. Not because you want more of it, but because this is what it is.
Yeah.
And actually, I believe it's here to serve me in some way. And the more I embrace it, instead of pushing it away, I'm going to learn about it. And I would get that lesson and my life would just become more beautiful as a result of it. So don't use your goals against you. Like, oh, I want to have this and I should have had it.
Yes.
It's not good.
Or it'll be okay when I have it in the future.
There's always a new thing in the future that you're going to be worrying about.
You won't even realise what you want in the future.
Exactly.
It's so true. It's so interesting. It's so good to hear you break all of these points down and actually sort of put that into tools that we can use. Well, that I use because... we chat every week. Because actually everybody has the power to take control. And when you listen to a podcast or you read a book or there's something that inspires you, you don't have to just listen to it and then move on with the rest of your day.
No.
Take it forward.
Please pause. I
Do
love
it in the now.
Yeah. And you always say in your episodes, like, I hope you're listening to this on your lunch break.
Yes.
I hope so too. I hope people are really taking that hour out of their day
for themselves.
To give themselves something.
Yeah.
And then to also think about, okay, I've broken up my day, the morning, lunch break, now the afternoon and evening. How am I going to take something I've learned from Michelle's podcast and implement it? I love to say, like, I don't want people to just be inspired. I want them to be inspired into action.
Yes.
So it's like the second half of your day, after you've listened to Ladies Who Launch, how are you going to implement what Emma Greed said, what Amy said, right? Immediately just start putting it in place. So if Emma says, I'm a girl's girl and I really love to support people, immediately just go chat to someone in the office and say, how are you doing? Like, just really be down for them. Or if somebody says, trying to think of another episode. Jo Malone saying, oh God, she said something so beautiful. She said, like, I want to do this again, Rochelle. It got me because the way she like called you out on it, she like brought you in on it, right?
I love her so much.
She said, like, Rochelle, I really want to see myself win. I can't remember the exact words.
I think she was talking about the fact that she sees herself going into skincare at some point again.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, I want to push myself to like play this game again. And if you listen to that episode, you may not be going into skincare. You're not Jo Malone, but you can say, I want to play this game. And you go back into the office, doing your 9 to 5 maybe, which is not maybe the job you want to do. You really want to work on your business full time, but you're like, but this is the game I'm playing right now. And I'm going to play it I'm going to be the MVP in this office. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it well. And then the time I have outside of work, I'm going to do that and do that well. That's just how you can immediately implement what you're hearing in the episode. So it's not about like, oh, but I don't have a big business like them. You have a big brain like them.
Yes.
So take the tools of what they're saying and just start immediately like plugging it. Yeah. Today, like this second.
Yes. I mean, this is why we talk so much. I feel inspired. I'm ready to do something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to start something new today after this. Yeah. I always like to leave a tangible tip, as you know, at the end of each episode. And with you, I'd be so interested for you to give somebody an action to take today. What's one, if you're listening to this in your lunch hour, you're watching in your lunch hour, or you're on your commute, or you're winding down for the evening, what's one positive action that our ladies who launch can take from today?
Let's circle back to the beginning where I spoke about I work with entrepreneurs. Don't really care about your business. I care about you. Because I feel like I founded a business and found myself through that.
Wow.
And it was a parallel journey of building a business and building myself at the same time. So if there's one action I think every lady who wants to launch should do, she should design her future self. Ooh. Literally take a piece of paper. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Take a piece of paper and just write down everything your future self is. Everything that dream woman is. Make her real, paint the picture, add the details in. Because when you build your business, it's not about having all the money, the customers, the success. It's actually about who you become on the journey. And that journey is going to help you build that woman. So if you're not aware of who she is, you might be building the wrong future for yourself. So from today, know who she is and build with her in mind, and make sure you're having the fun, the creative time, the positive, all the things that she wants to feel. Start doing it now. Yes. And make her come to life as you launch.
So today, you've got to know who she is.
Yeah,
design her.
Design your future self.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been so good. I've absolutely loved it.
Same.
Like we've hung out and I've got a free session.
Anytime.
Don't forget to follow us on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast to make sure you don't miss out, because next week we're going to be talking to another incredible lady who launched. If like me, you're a watcher, please follow us on YouTube and don't forget to like and subscribe.